Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you. Hey, I see. Let's see. I spy with my little eye. Is that the way it goes? Hi, Tanya. I am well and safe and pretty happy. Happy hump day, she says. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Philippa. You are up so early today. Hope you're having a good day. I will apologize in advance for any loud noises happening outside because, of course, we're still having construction going on, and it's going to be going on and on and on for many months to come. So it is what it is. And today they poured the cement for the posts, which was great to support the new deck that's going in. And I couldn't, literally, my brain is, I'm dealing with some weird mouth stuff. So my brain was fried, and I said, it needs to be an easy day. So, of course, when I need an easy day, it's all about the French knots. Hey, to the lurkers that are there. Hope you guys are having a good day too. You do not need to speak up. I am just going to sit here and stitch and want to hear what's happening with everybody else. Too far away from my desk. It's kind of exciting. Design decisions that happen on the fly. It's a lot like art. You think you're going to do something one way, and then you get into the middle of it all. Hey, Wendy, she says, hello, everyone. Hope you are all well. And you get into the middle of the project and you're like, I don't really like that. I want to change it a little bit. And it's like the same thing outside. The contractor will say, well, hi, Joanne. He'll say, well, do you want this like this? Or, what do you think if we change it over here? And yesterday I was looking at all the supports they had out where they were going to pour the cement. And one of them's in the front yard where we have a long brick planter box that goes along the front of the house. And we were talking in the backyard about how we wanted to hide the brick pillars, different things we could do. Well, we have a huge brick patio down in the lower property that we never use. We would rather have dirt. And so we were already going to take some of those bricks out and do some other things. And so I told him I was going to dry stack bricks around this pillar in the front yard. And he said, oh, well, we can square that off then to make it easier. So I'm looking out my window now and I can see this very pretty, nice square block of cement. And we'll be able to do the little bricks around it and just little things like that. Having somebody that's working on your house that takes the time to go through all the stuff with you and make sure you're getting what you want, it's worth it. So worth it. So Joanne, have you been out in the garden already today? I need to take some pictures of my lower garden right now. This is the time of year where everything still looks really lush and green, and so many things are blooming that in another, month, everything will be burnt to a crisp, which is fine. That's the way it is in nature. So I'm also doing a small hoop of French knots because I've been thinking about how I want to build some future wildscapes. I'm kind of trying to figure out, I don't want to say an easier way because it's not like I'm trying to make my job easier, but a way that is going to work with the way I want to construct things. So we're going to give it a try and see if it works. Hey, Sue, she said, hello, all. I'll have to leave early today, but glad to be here for a short time. May you be a little bit inspired. You got that right, Tanya. She said, good contractors are worth their weight in gold. Absolutely. Which is why when he said he could squeeze us in now, we're like, yeah, go for it. Even though we weren't quite ready, it was like, go for it. Because we didn't want him to get sidetracked with somebody else. And, we've got him and his crew here for the next several months. Joanne said, had errands today. FedEx just delivered my plants for the vegetable garden. We'll unbox after you're live. Oh, that's exciting. One of the things we're looking forward to is we're going to have a nice, since we're taking out probably 3/4 of the previous deck, we're going to have a nice batch of dirt up at house level, so we can finally put together a raised herb garden that we can block from the bunnies, the raccoons are fair game, but hopefully they'll leave the herbs alone. I discovered when I planted lettuce that the raccoons decided I planted it for them. Wendy said, we finally had rain. I'm also still working on the Christmas bauble embroidery thingy. Michelle said, hi, Joanne. I almost fell asleep. I'd gotten up early today. Yeah, we were up at 6:30 today because the guys were here before 7 to make sure they had everything ready for when the cement truck got here. 7 yards of cement. I know it's gorgeous over here too, Michelle. Beautiful blue skies. Supposed to be in the 70s all week, which is lovely. Tally and I had a very nice walk this morning, or should I say sniffari, because she just found so many things. Tanya said, Joanne, how fun. Did you get anything unusual or special? My tomatoes are looking sad. I think we have to start growing peppers because we use so many of them. Love me some spicy food. I had a nice plot of lettuce and carrots and radishes, what kind of things I like in my salad. And the raccoon said, for me? And they tore them all up, ate everything we had. They left the corn alone. It's like, no, we'll wait until we can close everything in. So having it up at the same level as the house, we can do kind of like a walk-in, hopefully secluded fence place. I know I love radishes. It would just be so much easier if we could just go outside and pick our things rather than, I mean, we have nice farmers markets around here. We're very fortunate. There is something psychologically to be said for a small hoop. You certainly feel, yeah, they're going to have to be raised and it's going to have to be enclosed with that roof. It's going to have to be an enclosed roofed thing if we want to keep the critters out. Luckily, those critters, the raccoons, leave my other stuff alone. I learned when we lived in San Jose, I had a pond, and anything that was floating in the pond, they decided they wanted to eat too. So they don't just go in and take the plants. They got to dig up the mud and throw everything all over the place. And they're little demons. But, you know, you're living in the wildlife space. That's what it is. Tanya wants to know, Wendy, have you posted your bauble work in progress in the Facebook group? I want to see. I want to see more. You know, the group, I keep thinking there's no reason to keep the group going because I don't see people posting stuff, and then somebody new joins it, and I feel like we need to keep things going. But, you know, I don't have the wherewithal to do something all the time in there. Love it if somebody else would ask questions. And I know, Tanya, you've done that when you joined. I don't know, maybe people just want to know that it's there. I don't know. I don't know why they join when there's no activity, or I don't know why they stay when there's no activity, but I don't know how to make more activity happen. I've been thinking about maybe doing like uploading like a studio live that I would do, not a live stream, but a studio video that I would just post in the Facebook group, you know, just what I was working on or something. I don't know. I don't want it to be all about me. Hey, Barbara. She said, I'm slowing down my Facebook use, so I'm barely on there once a week. Good for you. Yeah, well, I feel like it's slowing down everywhere because of the way they've messed with the algorithms and stuff. I'm not going to pay for people to see my posts. So only a couple people see my, you know, my happy posts every day. Terry said, hello, because we love you just the way you are. That's sweet, Terry. Thank you. Life is hectic. Yeah. And Barbara, you're right. Too many ads on Facebook anymore. It's fun to see other people's stitch projects. Yeah. Just for the eye candy. If people would just post and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did. This is what I'm working on. And Terry, you have always been really good about making sure that you share interesting things that you see. I appreciate there. Well, it really is supposed to be more of a project-based group, not, you know, yeah, not just like a casual kind of thing, Tanya. So that, yeah, really, they want to see what you're making. They want to see what you're working on. And that was kind of been one of the rules that I started at the beginning, so that things didn't go so far left that people didn't want to participate. You know, and the reason it started is to give people a place to a safe place that they could share their work, because so many people are intimidated to share their work, which I totally understand. Joanne said, have just a small area. I have red pepper and those motion activated sensors. Whoops. But this year I'm buying covers for the tomatoes. Squirrels are my biggest problem. We also have a groundhog. Oh gosh, yeah. Yep. We have a big fig tree and it gets big, beautiful figs on them. And we wait for the figs to get a little bit riper and we go out there and every last fig is gone, completely gone because of the critters. Barbara said, I find that when I watch, I just hit like button and go on, but that's not really participating. Yeah. And it's, you can't stipulate a lot of stuff that people try to. And I'm just like, if people want a place to know that they can gather, if they have a question, I need to post something more often because it does have my name on the group. And just remind people, hey, this is a safe place to share your projects, ask your questions. Nobody ever asked me any questions, so everybody must be doing just fine with what they're doing. Yeah, that's fine. I'm really trying to let it all go. There's so much going on right now as I try to figure out what all to finish for Open Studios, what I can get done in the amount of time, keeping up with exercise so that I, don't fall backwards. And then just other weirds. And then the construction. Oh yeah, because then construction. I freaking love this yarn. This was one of my regular dyers. She's calling it a tweed. She just was playing around and she posted that. And I thought, oh, it was different from her regular stuff. And it was just different enough to be perfect. And Kat, if you are back there lurking, I am hoping you are doing okay. And if you're not, I'm going to send you a message later. Michelle wants to know, Terry, do you have fruit trees? She has beautiful flowers. I know that. Beautiful flowers. Tally girl back from her third walk from the day.
There you go.
She's getting many, many much walks because, of course, with all the construction going on, she doesn't get to run around loose in the yard like normal. But she's really rolling with it pretty well, all things considered. I'm pretty impressed. And it helps that she's, loves meeting people. And so she's not like barking like Zoe would be barking all the time. Michelle said, I just have a maple leaf tree and a rosemary bush. Rosemary grows well. We have so many rosemary bushes and a bunch of them are going to come out and some sages are going in. They've gotten really old and leggy and we really only need one for cooking. Terry said we have very young apple trees and an old crabapple. So tonight I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and do something that I have not done in years, and that's go to a networking event here in town. It's a women's networking group that meets once a month. So I am going to do that today, and I'm telling you so that I don't chicken out, so you guys can all ask me next week about going, because it's scary. I don't know anybody there except for two people that may or may not come. The photographer that did my photo shoot and my personal trainer, but they may not be able to come. They're younger and have young families. So I'm going to be brave and step into a room full of strangers and see if I can do any networking that would possibly help my art. Well, the nice thing about starting a small hoop is you actually are going to see the finish line that much sooner. I hope so too. She said, I hope you end up enjoying yourself this evening. It'll be really nice if one of the two gals I know is there. I just need like one buddy and I feel a lot better, but my stomach definitely cramps up and I get very nervous in those situations. And then I can fake it. I can like pull up all the energy like I did when I would be doing public speaking. but it's draining. It's very draining. And of course, it's out of my routine because we have our routine where, we have dinner and then we sit down and turn on the TV for a little bit. And so that's like messing with my whole routine, but it will be good for me. Same way that Open Studios will be good for me. Next week, I have to do it again, but I have to do it with a meeting with the Arts Council and meeting some of the other new artists that are going to be participating this year and see what all is going to be required of us. Terry said, just this spring, I discovered that a bird had planted 2 crabapple seedlings, one red, one green. Tonight, it's not crafters. No, tonight is women that own businesses in Scotts Valley. And so they might not have a storefront. They might have an Etsy shop. They might sell just at fairs. There's one of the gals runs the local massage parlor. Somebody else, shoot, what does she do? Oh, there's a couple real estate agents, that sort of thing. So I don't know if anybody else there is going to be an artist type personality. I guess we'll find out. Next week will be all artists when I do the Open Studios thing. But tonight, who knows? They could all be bankers and lawyers and we don't have, I guess we do have a few lawyers in town. I mean, our town's not that big and they're only women owners. So we'll see. All right, cut this longer. And this party, this is just it's got like little hints of white that pop out and it's like little white threads. So it looks, I don't know, it just looks neat. Yeah, it is good to know bankers. You're right. Yeah, should have been going to them before we applied for our loan for all our construction stuff, but we're still got a couple weeks waiting for all that to go through, hopefully. I did finally get my Social Security approved, so hopefully later this month I will get my first check. That's taken 3 months to go through all of that. I think there's a gal that runs a yoga studio is speaking tonight. They bring in a guest speaker and it's held at a local winery, which would have been nice, except that I don't drink wine anymore. So thrift store owners. Yeah, I don't know. It would be nice. Yeah, thrift store owners. We do have one thrift store in town. Yeah, it's funny when you stop and think, like our local coffee shop that we go to almost every day is owned by a woman. So hopefully she'll be there. But we don't have that many businesses. It's not it's not a very big town. It's a very small town. We have 2 main drags. But that's why we like it here. I really need to schedule some time to head down to the local thrift store and look for a couple things. So I really need some different shades of velvet. So I want to see if somebody maybe has like a prom dress or something they tossed in. Although considering the last time I went to the thrift store, considering the prices, it's almost cheaper just to go buy new fabric. It's crazy what they've been asking for things. Oh, I love the sound. This was one of my thrift store finds. This was a linen tablecloth. And I love it when you can find a tablecloth to stitch into because you get so much material for so cheap, right? So Michelle, what are you working on lately? I know you've always got a project going. And Terry, have you been able to settle down and do any of your art lately now that some of your other house stuff is hopefully settling down? Tanya, did you finish your shoot? You showed us the early stages of one of your things that you were making. I want to say a cat. It wasn't a cat though, was it? Supply, demand, and rent dollar equals dollars. Yeah. Yep, you're right. And right now people want stuff. Well, but you would think, I don't know. I would not make a good storefront business owner. I thought I wanted something like that years ago, but no. Michelle said, I'm working on a 20-inch snippet roll. It's nothing special, but almost done. You know, sometimes it's not the idea that the snippet roll itself is super special. It's that you have it as a base then to cut a piece from and then add to something else. She said she'll post it soon. Terry said, actually, I haven't made aluminum earrings for a few years, so I have been binge making them. Getting everything stocked up so you'll be ready for the Christmas season, right? Are you doing any summer shows, or is everything built for your holiday season, which I know is your big money maker? Tanya says, it was a dog. Okay. And nearly just needs a couple coats of Liquitex protection. Ooh. I've been thinking about molds so that I could take, let's see, do I have anything small? If I had a small something and I wanted to mold the French knot over it. And so I've been thinking about just wadding up aluminum foil or a piece of cardboard, and then I guess maybe just masking tape around it. But then I start wondering whether I have to worry about that holding up over time. I don't know. Terry's been yearning to pick up paint. Michelle says, that sounds fun, Terry. I want to learn how to use aluminum. I think sometimes I don't have to think. I know sometimes I spend too much time worrying about the longevity of the art rather than whether it's going to be an effective. I mean, I just don't know how much I should worry about that. I just don't know. Terry said, I have a show at the end of the month and one in July this year, and she cuts up beverage cans for her earrings. Well, then, yeah, I know you need to build up your stock. Got to have that inventory. Tanya said, if you want heirloom item finish, then archival paper wadded under or stuffed with fibers. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, is stuffing with fibers. But boy, wouldn't it be a whole lot easier to just use aluminum foil? It would. You stuff the things and then you have to stitch the things. But what I'm thinking about doing now is creating my mounds. Yeah, I was thinking about styrofoam, but I was going to create my mounds first and then cover them rather than doing them the way I've been doing them in the past, which was kind of stuffing them as I went. And I was thinking about styrofoam, and the only thing that stopped me from the styrofoam was wondering how durable it would be, like if somebody bumped into it and crashed it, and yeah, I don't know. But that is an option. I've got so much fabric that isn't fun to stitch through, but I was thinking I was just gonna make a bunch of little pillows, since I like to sculpt my hills. Okay, so if this was all gathered and I like to sculpt them, it would be easier to do that as a pillow and then just lay the French knots over them. So, or at least I think it would be. So that's what I might try next. Oh, this yarn is just bliss to stitch with. It's got a little bit of silk in it, wool and silk, and wow, It feels nice. And yeah, it's green. And you know what? I don't care. I love the green. So I will do lots more green. Although I've been doing some stuff with browns lately too. And I'm going to go back to the yellow. But if I have a whole bunch of small bits of French knots, then they all kind of go together. You can make lots of little hills and valleys. Oh, it's quiet outside. The guys must be on lunch break. Tell you what, when Saturday and Sunday rolled around, we didn't want to do anything. It was just so nice to have the quiet. Can I use roving for the hills and stuff? Yeah, but I've got like 10 bags of polyfill that somebody gave me, so I'm using that up slowly for the stuffing, and then I like to use the roving on top. What I really like if you have little sections like this, then I like to take the roving and needle felt it down in there. I'm glad I have 4 skeins of this yarn. It's the first time I've used it. Really liking it. Barbara said, I've been watching videos on German, Japanese, other short row knitting and crocheting. What is short row knitting and crocheting? I don't understand what that, how is that different from regular knitting and crocheting? I actually picked up the crochet hook yesterday. I've been doing a lot of just chain stitch, taking some novelty yarn and then making a really long chain stitch, and that creates something that I can couch down. Haven't been brave enough to try it yet. Yeah, boy, that bravery thing, we need it, don't we, when we want to learn these new techniques. I'm also going to go back to the punch needle to try a few things. I still haven't found what I want to do with the water that's going to be my favorite. So I've got a small chunk of water that I'm finishing with a split stitch. And then I think I'm going to do long and short stitch next and see how I feel about that. I want something that gives that illusion of movement, which I don't get with French knots, of course. Barbara said it's where in the middle of a row of knitting or crocheting, you add another color and shape in your piece. Oh, wow. That's beyond my simple chain stitch I know how to do. And single crochet and double crochet, that's it. I crocheted one completed thing in my life, and that was like over 40 years ago, a baby blanket when I was pregnant with my son. Yeah, let's see. Let me grab one. I've got Boucher yarn is a really neat thing to use. So this is just a big old long thing of single crochet, or not even single crochet, chain stitch. And so it's really just this thin Boucher yarn, and you could kind of get close to the same effect if you twist it. But I really like this, and I can kind of add that, like as a hill or dirt or something else. Sue said, I can see couching down some cord for texture in your pieces, maybe even in place of French knots. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm looking for is not that I want to stop the French knots, but I want 2 things. I want to give more variety to a piece. And then in some areas, I want to be able to move a little faster, like if I was doing a bigger piece. So, this is just super, super fast. And I've used it with, I've done this with 2 or 3 different types of Boucher, I don't know how you say that one, Boucle yarn. And I like it better, because if you do it with just a regular yarn, you're going to see every chain. And that wasn't what I wanted. Although there was a gal on Instagram that I follow who posted how she does that sort of thing. She'll pull her needle up and she'll do with her regular yarn, she'll do boucle. Okay, thank you. Boucle. I never knew. She'll do chain stitch. She'll just kind of do it with finger knitting with this and then couch it down. And when she does hers, it looks like a pile of French knots. So far, I haven't quite achieved that. So, but that was Syrup Stitches over on Instagram. Boucle. Well, I love boucle yarn, and I'm always looking for it in greens and browns because I really like the different things you can do when you can make a bullion knot. And this does kind of look like a bullion knot. It's just a really, really long one. And I have plans for this, but I'm not going to tell you about them yet. That's what I was doing yesterday. There's a lot of experimenting with the different yarns I had and which ones I could do something like that with. Also, then you can take something like this and take your eyelash yarn and kind of wind it around it, and then you get another little neat effect. Yeah, yarn. Michelle says that yarn would be good for mushrooms, forest floor, and tree trunks. That's what comes to mind. It would make a great tree trunk. You could, let's see. You could have your trunk come up and you could have your branches go out and whatever. So lots of possibilities. This was another one of those find on eBay. They only had 3 skeins of it. I'm glad I bought all 3 skeins because I haven't been able to see any of it anywhere else. I don't know if I've got a cold or allergies or what, but my throat is definitely not happy today or yesterday or the day before. Been going through the lozengers like crazy. Always works better when you wet your fingers to make the knot, at least for me. Canadian Fire Air. No, it's either, I'm very congested. So I don't know. It's either a cold or allergies. Had a really sore throat the other day. Now it's just slightly sore, but the more I talk, the more it doesn't feel great. Will be another cup of tea and lots of water and lots of hydration and more lozengers. Stay in there. I think Sue Brown was having more trouble with the Canadian Fire Air. Weren't you up there, Sue? And Barbara, how is it at your place? Are you getting much drift? There was a fire at the edge of town last week, so definitely telling us that the season is here. Hope we don't have any big freaky ones happening this year. Hello again to all the lurkers back there. Hope you guys are busy doing creative things. Sue said, no, we have poor air quality for me, but I don't think it's from Canadian fires. I thought they were east of us as well as north. Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to that, to be honest. So I just know the more I talk, I'm feeling even more congested the more I talk. And because I have to go get some blood work on Friday, I can't really take anything. Sue said there's been volcanic activity all around the world. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there isn't some of that in the air. Could be. Stuff travels, doesn't it? I think I have weird stuff happening in sinuses too. So I'm really hoping when I go see the doctor next week that I can get a referral over to the ENT department. They're kind of stingy with referrals over there lately, but hopefully, because this is something I deal with a lot, and just like to know if there's something else I can do, because I can't take a Sudafed every day. I mean, it always helps, but I can't do that every day. So Sue, did you get all your little scraps sorted out, or are you ready to start something else? No, that would be a tally hair, not part of the silk that's in the yarn. Terry said you're probably having a reaction in your sinuses due to the vibration of your voice. Perhaps. I am not good medically. I just know this is frustrating. Sue said I've made 8 blocks out of the square scraps so far. Now I realize I have strips that I can cut into more patches. Isn't it funny? It's like the more you use them, it's like they multiply at night. It's like, oh, she used a bunch of these guys up. We need to make more. I was looking through my abandoned projects box and kept taking things back out again. It's like, no, I could still work on it. Oh, I could still do this. And I was like, no, I need to let them go. We'll keep you busy for a while. Yep. But it's good to have things that will keep us busy, right? Like there's some, like I will probably always have some of this yarn near me so I can, I like having different movements. So if I can do the chain stitch and then I can do the French knots and then I can do the bullions, I'm using different movements. So I'm less likely to put a strain on my shoulders. Sue said, yes, I've had thoughts about the other scrap strips in my stash, what I could do with them too. Terry says, when I'm in an environment with lots of noise, my ears create lots of wax. Oh, interesting. Our bodies are fascinating and frustrating, right? Fascinating and frustrating. Better to stay focused on one project. See, you're very good at that, Sue, having that single focus. I mean, if I get half of the projects done that I have in an unfinished state for Open Studios, that will be a success. There's no way I think I'm going to finish all 50 plus of them, but I had no idea vibrations could do that sort of thing, Terry. That's really interesting. Yeah, I used to, be able to speak for a couple hours, at a conference or something without any problems, but anymore now. I mean, I didn't used to have a problem going through an hour live stream, but I do think there's something going on today. Allergies or a cold. I don't know which. Michelle said, I like to switch projects frequently. The reason I end up switching so many projects so often is because of you guys, so that I'm giving you something different during the week. So it might just be different colors of greens. Sue said, used to be able in a lot of ways. Cute. And yet you are able in many ways that others are not. We forget that about ourselves. At least I forget that about myself. It's very easy to look at the things we can't do and less easy to say, this is something I do well. We can say this is something I enjoy, but how many of us will say this is something I know I do well? We might think we don't do it as well as somebody else, and therefore it's not worth mentioning. And that's just the wrong way to think. Yeah, good thing to remember. You are able in so many other ways that other people can't. We all have that, right? We all have that special something that nobody else has. There's only one of you, thank goodness for some people. And oh boy, I wish there were more of you for others. But there's only one. There's that unique quality that makes you you. And how lucky is the world to have you? My 2 cents. This yarn is so soft. And so this is what I would have called one of my better yarns, my more expensive yarns. And I am using my good stuff. I hope you are all using your good stuff, not hoarding it and saying, oh, I can't use that. No, no, no. It was so expensive. You bought it because you fell in love with it. Doggone it, use it. Have fun with it. Yes, Michelle said, just like crafting, each product is unique. Each person is unique. You know, and I've said this many, many times, we could all sit down with the same materials, the same project plan, and each one is going to come out completely different. Even paint by number kits, they don't come out the same every time. Sue says, I'm going to have to sign off now. Have a creative week, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and your week as well, Sue. Thanks for popping in for a little bit. Yeah, I may not last the hour today. I can feel my throat doing its thing. I'm very happy with all of this. This is exactly the effect I was hoping this yarn would give me. And it's so nice when that happens and you don't have to stitch over it to hide something you don't like. Barbara's back. Did you get some lunch? Because it's lunchtime in our time zone here and I'm getting hungry. We ate early today because of the guys showing up early. Yeah, I would love the idea of having some throat coat tea, and then I just realized it's got some of the supplements in it that I'm not supposed to have before the blood work. So I'll just be having me some water. Oh, English muffin with peanut butter. That sounds good. I love English muffins and I love peanut butter. Yeah, because I was going to go in for blood work like Monday, and then I had realized I had taken my vitamins and supplements Sunday, and they want you to wait a week. So I'll go have some water and some lunch. If I could find more tablecloths like this, I would buy them all. This is just the nicest thing to stitch through. Terry said, speaking of no two alike, I heard a story of two friends taking an ESP test in a room full of people. Oh, I like where this is going. Tell us more. I'm guessing there was some kind of a connection, huh? Wow, I am fading. My goodness. I have no great stories to tell, so somebody needs to ask me a question or we're going to have radio silence here. And that's kind of boring as people are disappearing. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Fade on. Yeah, I'm not all here today, guys. Nobody has any questions. I don't know. I may just sit and stitch. I should turn some background music on. Terry said, from the people taking the ESP test in a room full of people, they both drew the same elements: sun, blue sky, and a word, the same word. Nobody else in the room had that theme from the prompt. Interesting. These were really good friends, I guess, that must have been tuned into one another. The world is a mysterious adventure. I am making progress. Yeah, I think she said they were friends taking the same test. So must have had some kind of a long time connection. I don't have anybody like that other than my husband. That Barbara said, my taste buds have been mostly asleep for about a month. This is getting tiresome. I've found something that I thought was working great for my dry mouth while I was sleeping, and I think it is causing a really bad taste in my mouth that I can't seem to get rid of now. So I'm going to have to stop using it, which means I'm not going to get good sleep. So I feel you're tiresome. It's very frustrating. Because if you can't taste your food the way it's supposed to taste, it's kind of hard to enjoy a meal. And I just kind of feel like I've licked an ashtray all day. And that's not a fun feeling either. Michelle said, certain times of the day I can taste things better. Oh, that's interesting. My mouth just feels grody. Barbara said, yes, there's the cardboard aspect of everything I eat. Got to have something really tasty on it. Oh, I just like my mouth to taste normal again. Michelle's going to have lunch after this, not sure what. I am definitely going to have to go have something to eat. Yeah, I may only last till the end of this yarn. This may be cut short today. Barbara said, I can taste the peanut butter mostly. My doc said it could be the new blood pressure medicine, Losartan. Anyone else have that problem? Ugh, that's the worst. If it's a medicine you need to take that's causing issues. Terry said, I have been trying new popcorn toppings. Michelle said, there are allergens in the air. Yeah, and we've got, the construction going on. So there's all kinds of stuff every time I step outside. What's your favorite of the new toppings you've tried so far, Terry? Ooh, popcorn sounds good too. Recently tried powdered apple cider vinegar with powdered cheese and salt. Interesting. Did you liked it? My trouble with the powdered stuff is all the chemicals that are probably in it. We usually just do popcorn with a little bit of butter. You just get the kernels at the bulk food thing, and hubby makes it in a paper bag in the microwave, a little bit of butter. So yum. Terry said I purchased seaweed, but it doesn't taste like the seaweed I've had before. It's pretty salty, isn't it? Isn't seaweed pretty salty? We were trying a bunch of different salad dressings last night, and one of them definitely tasted like I needed shrimp to dip in it, not to put all over my salad. Ah, no chemicals. That's why I'm making them. Ah, that sounds good then. Almost smoothie time of the year, getting hotter and hotter. I'm going to start experimenting, seeing if I can get some more. Michelle said Barbara Losserton, however you say that, can cause joint pain, so just be aware. Jerry said, actually, this one isn't salty, but it smells like mud flats. Oh, that would be hard to taste. Yeah, not exactly the flavor you want on your popcorn. All right, folks, I think this is about it for me. I just don't think I can go on. Barbara said, geez, Michelle, I already had a lot of that. I think I need to jettison this one. I appreciate you guys hanging with me today. Sorry there weren't any great stories and adventures to share. I will let you know how the networking event goes tonight. But I think it's time for me to go hydrate and say that I will see you guys next week. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye for now.